Hello and welcome to another video about Imperator Rome. Now, there's always, since Imperator first came out, been a lot of discussion about what is Imperator supposed to be. And we had Johan very early on saying that the game is a map painter. One of the earliest dev diaries was calling it a map painter. That was before the big backlash of release and when the devs realized that that's actually kind of not what people wanted. But now there was a thread on the forums, and I'm going to show you now. What is Imperator Rome actually trying to be? So, one thing I feel Imperator Rome lacks is a focus compared to CK3 Vision Dev Diary, which states that every major mechanic will be tied around the characters. Imperator Rome's Vision Dev Diary basically said it's trying to be a little of everything, but kind of feels like Imperator Rome doesn't have an actual focus and end up with a bunch of disjoint mechanics that is not supporting whatever focus the game actually has. So yeah, Denkt is very, very active on the forums, and he's not a very pessimist person. So it was a little bit surprising to see this from him, but either way, so he made this post on the forums. I did reply myself here. It's trying to be a fun game. Since Cicero, I would say the mission is accomplished. But what I say on the forums is not exactly objective or really means anything. But what we did get as well was a reply from Arheo, who, as you will know, is the current game design lead person, the game director. I can't remember what the actual title is called. But Arheo also replied, and I think it is very interesting. Yeah, game director. Imperator is a civilization builder, not a map painter, not an economic simulator, or an RPG. So it's not EU4, it's not Victoria 2, and it's not Crusader Kings. It's about defining or discovering, as the government or leading cabal of your nation, what makes your civilization unique, and showing the world in whichever manner you choose that this is what, insert civilization here, is all about. Now, perhaps for a Roman civilization, the heritage you want to build is one of conquest. Perhaps you have other goals. It's up to you. The game is about defining those goals, trying to reach them, and the stories you build along the way. I have a lot of plans, both to enable the above and to expand what is there. I wish I could enlighten you all as to everything I want to do here, but for now, I'll have to ask that you trust that I am working to make Imperator something wholly and entirely unique. And I do. Honestly, I do trust him. Having met and spoke with him quite a lot at ParadoxCon 2019, I am fully behind him. I think he's definitely got what it takes to do exactly what he wants to do, basically. But yeah, I just thought you might find this interesting, especially the not a map painter, because I'm almost certain, and I'm not going to look for the quote, but I'm almost certain that Johan did describe it as a map painter, which is, I mean, obviously it didn't go over so well. People decided they didn't want just a map painter. So definitely coming out and saying it's not one is good. Defining or discovering as the government what makes your civilization unique and showing the world in whichever manner you choose that it's what it's all about. It is quite vague. I guess it's more like you decide what your country is, and then you do that thing. I guess just allowing more possible allowing more possible modes of play would allow for that. You can decide that you want to go down the economic route and really work on trade, stay small, stay very technologically advanced, make a lot of money, and if you need to, you use that money to get mercs. That's a play style that is completely valid and viable. In fact, as things like Emporion or Marsilia, that's I would say probably the objectively best way to go about it. Because the longer you wait before you start your conquest, the more technologically advanced you will be over your neighbors, who all start as tribesmen. So yeah, there are multiple different playstyles in the game right now, and there's only going to be more when we get to the religious rework coming in Archimedes. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot more valid playstyles coming soon. The culture rework that's coming in with Menander, Arheo has said that he wants to add a sort of way to reward cultural diversity in a nation, as would be historically accurate. Because right now, cultural diversity, even within your own culture group, is a wholly negative thing. There are zero positives, whereas there should be some positives. So, coming with Archimedes and Menander, there's going to be more playstyles relating to religion and culture as well. So, yeah. Perhaps you have other goals. Well, at the moment, most of my goals are related towards achievement runnings. But, yeah, I mean, you know what? I define the goals, try to reach them, and the stories you build along the way. This definitely sort of resonates with me, especially with my Rome campaign right now. I've defined my goals. I want Mare Nostrum. Trying to reach them. I'm trying to get Mare Nostrum. The stories you build along the way is actually kind of really surprising how much fun I'm having with the stories that I'm having along the way. It's surprising how much I'm enjoying it right now. I mean, I have enjoyed the game for a long time, but, you know, it's... not sure how really to describe it, but I'm definitely enjoying it a bit more. Just a moment, I'm going to show you something I put on Twitter. Alright, and there you go. So, this is a thread that I posted on Twitter yesterday. My favourite thing in my current Imperator Rome campaign is the name of one of my legions. I had an event where a senator had passed away right before he was to propose a bill that would increase the rights of non-Romans, which was a pretty controversial bill. I decided, due to the bonus of Rome culture happiness, to pass the bill anyway. This angered the head of one of my prominent families, who immediately got a large penalty to his loyalty, and eventually he and his adopted son ended up raising armies against me. I managed to keep this disloyal cur from starting a civil war, and when he died, I inherited the army that he'd raised. His son became loyal, and now I had control of their army too. 2 new armies, both raised by would-be traitors. What to do? Because of the composition of the armies was not to my particular liking, I ended up merging the 2 of them, keeping the units that I wanted, and disbanding the rest. And this new legion needed a name, so I looked online for inspiration and came up with the name Pia Gemina. This literally translates to faithful twins. Twins because the legion was formed out of the remnants of 2 disloyal armies, now loyal to the Senate, and faithful is a bit of ironic humour. I love the stories that can come out of this game. Simple act of naming your armies after their deeds adds so much to the experience. My other legions, Victrix and Ferret Invicta, both have stories too. That's basically the same point, right? That's the same point. That is the stories you build along the way. And if you put even the slightest little bit of effort in, renaming an army is enough to get a story. You will know your army. You will remember your army. You'll remember what they did, where they've been, what conflicts they've really interacted with, and that builds a story. It adds so much to the game when you do that. So, yeah, I recommend it. I really do. There's one more thing that I want to show you before I end off this video. Back to the forums here, and it is there. Trade spam. This has been a very controversial, I would say, issue for a while, especially since the food update, when you don't really want to get rid of all your food. You just get trade spam all the time. You have grain, I want your grain. If you've been watching my Rome campaign, you'll know that quite frequently I have to say, grain from Latium? I don't think so. Yeah, you're not getting my grain from Latium. Otherwise, Latium will fucking starve. So, yeah, big old complaint. Tagging Johan? But out of the loop there, aren't you? Anyway, so we have Arheo. This is certainly a high impact annoyance, which will be addressed in the 1.4 update. So, yes, fantastic. I can see this going a number of ways. Either the AI won't ask you for a trade good of food if said trade would make your province start to lose food. I could see that being a potential option, or simply a check mark so you can tell the game, I'm never going to sell this trade good, stop asking me. That's also a route that I could see them going down. Both have their advantages, and I'm sure we'll see where it goes. One of the two will probably be the ones that we get, unless he comes up with something completely radical, like a whole trade overhaul. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Then yeah, it's looking like something good. So yeah, that is pretty much all I wanted to say in this little news video. If there's any more stuff from the forums, I will let you guys know. All of these things we have seen already on factions and parties asking. I think I mentioned this. Well, if I didn't, we'll go over it just quickly. Hypothetically speaking, if one was to consider altering the political parties present in Rome, which groupings seem the most sensible to you folks? And if we just go to dev comments only, larger reworks and ideas are certainly worth posting, but it should be assumed the scope of the question was a little bit modest for the time being. It's basically asking if we were to replace the government mechanics for Rome specifically, because right now they have the standard, mercantile, civic, populists, military, religious factions. If you were to replace those with something more historical, what factions really would there be? Populares and Optimates, if that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, don't care. But those would be the most historical factions, but going down to 2 seems a little bit too little to me. I'm not sure. And he actually mentions that as well. To clarify, I think that sometimes less can be more. 5 parties is varied for sure, that's what we have now, but it makes pretty difficult to create engaging and meaningful choice. It turns a delicate balancing act into a juggling act, which is distinctly less fun, especially when there are potential historical reasons to explore the option of having fewer factions. Is 2 too few? I don't know. But yeah, I guess I can pop that little bit in. That was from Monday, which was a few days ago, but I suppose it's always relevant. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much for watching me ramble on just a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.